You have to acknowledge that a co-founder relationship is a relationship that you need to work on with your co-founder.
When you're building something for somebody more than just yourself, whether it's a community on Bindr, whether it's with your co-founder, that can keep you going beyond any problem that you have.
Do you want to do this the easy way or do you want to do it the right way? And sometimes the easy way is I have this person who'll be perfect, but it's going to compromise our values.
Welcome to the QT Podcast. This show is where QueerTech professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders come together to share insights, challenges, and success because queer innovators deserve the mic. I'm your host, Nopal Testoni. I use he, they pronouns, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of QueerTech. This season, supported by the Canadian Media Fund, we're taking you straight to the 2024 QT conference stage. From breaking systematic barriers and using tech for good to scaling businesses and creating wealth, these episodes bring you unfiltered discussions from industry leaders on the most pressing challenges and opportunities facing our community.
On today's episode, we're bringing you the QTQ 2024 session, Co-Founder Chemistry, Building Your Dream Founding Team, where Jason Robinson led a conversation on the strategies and insights behind forming a strong and aligned startup team. Our panelists included Mary Richardson, co-founder and CEO of Bindr, and Brandon Teller, co-founder and CEO of Bindr. Mary and Brandon are also the co-founder of Coldstart, an AI-powered content automation program that helped Bindr scale rapidly. Together, they share powerful insights on navigating founder dynamic, fostering collaboration, and building a cohesive team culture from day one. Let's get started.
I'm Jason Robinson, and I'll be the one moderating this interesting chat about finding your founder team and knowing the skills and strategies that actually making it very successful. With me, I have Mary, the unstoppable force behind Bindr. She has led the platform to rapid growth, winning awards and attracting tens of thousands of active users to reshape inclusivity in digital spaces. We also have Brandon, who also leads Coldstart, Bindr's growth engine turned high-performance company, brings technical expertise with a history of successful ventures and a clear vision of what queer founders can achieve.
Thank you, Jason.
So first, we can start off by kind of like giving us a background about Bindr and like how that all started and how you guys met and what was like the moment that you realized that, okay, we click, we're gonna be a good team together.
It's a bit unconventional in a way that we didn't start this the way that a lot of co-founding teams and startups start. I've seen a lot of talks about, I have this idea, I'm going to go get money, I'm going to make an entity and then start building. I got banned from Tinder one day and came in just pissed off and really unhappy with the other options that were presented to me. And having already been working with Brandon, we were talking about some of the other projects we were working on together. And he had in his mind, he's like, well, I have a really good name for a bisexual dating app. And if you want to do it with me, like, let's do it. And I'm like, yeah. I had fuel from rage and really just not being happy with what was on the market. From that, we spent 2 weeks when we had some free time. I was in college and was summer break, and Brandon was in between projects, and we built Bindr and did not expect it to take off like it did. The first version was kind of broken, the messaging didn't work, and we saw 300 people sign up in the first week and thought, wow, this is awesome. It really naturally evolved to what it is today, which is label-free, very fluid. A lot of the people on our platform are gender non-conforming, in the bisexual, pansexual umbrella, or just not wanting to label themselves. So while we accept everyone in the LGBTQ and everyone, that's kind of where it grew from. And it kind of just grew on its own to what it is today.
The follow-up with your other half of that is there was no aha moment when it came to a co-founding team. Many times when we're building a product, we'll be like, aha, that's a great idea, or that clicking moment with the name. For Mary and myself, it was kind of going through other startups unsuccessfully and then still being friends after that. Being able to go through the highs and the lows, it's very much a relationship when it comes to building something that's bigger than yourself. So in terms of like our co-founder moment, there's probably 300 reasons to do it and 300 reasons not to do it. And we always found the reasons to do it were better.
The aha moments, like we were saying, like when did you really know this was your co-founder? I think the best thing to look for there is not these moments. There's definitely moments after you have your co-founder where you're really reassured in, wow, I made the right choice. Like this person, I'm amazed with his brain, or I'm amazed with their kindness and their personality with people and what they've really, how they connect with your customers. But the best part is finding someone that you can trust, that you can work with, that you can disagree with, and still move on to the next thing and be able to keep working towards your mutual goals the next day.
Yeah, so a great example of that is how we came up with the idea with no sexual orientation. It was a hunch. It wasn't really this strategic thing that we were like, hey, this is the moment that'll differentiate us. But out of not having the technical time to get this done, where other co-founders that I may have worked with would have said, yeah, let's do it. Let's make this perfect. Mary was like, yeah, I don't think we need that. And that actually turned into one of the biggest features of Bindr and why it's resonated with so many. So in building a product, a lot of times that co-founder relationship will come as a result as well. So that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, if it wasn't for that moment, that was probably a bigger aha moment, and that's not the one that you would expect for me.
Yeah, because I think being a part of teams, I think when you talk about that aha moment, I have that a lot because I do program designing, and you can tell the people, you're like, no, I'm trying to maybe not work with you that much. But then there's some people I'm like, okay, we're clicking, and we're like, with the team, so you can see like, okay, this product that we're making is so good. And a lot of times, I know that aha moment because it happens a lot for me throughout so many times in my career. You mentioned about all this aha moments. What are like some of the stuff that you will find, like the skills and traits that you find to make a good founding team or a good co-founder? What would be like, how do you look into that? Like, how do you like and analyze someone and say, okay, I think we can fit? Like, is there like stuff that you may be lacking in gaps? Is there stuff that you may bring in your product that like, okay, I need to look for someone that has such knowledge in this area? It's like, how do you go around trying to find that?
Honestly, Mary and I are completely opposite in our personality types. She is very eccentric, will go on stage and do that, and that's not ever been me. I'm a technical person. I think our ideologies of all being the same for the same goal. Our differences in whether it's management style or ideas behind building a company, that's why they've turned out so great, is because we always have that even keel between us.
Yeah, we're able to balance each other out pretty well. One of the fun things that we did that I think co-founders should do just for fun, not to like put your whole relationship on it, but we did a DISC personality test where it tells you kind of what your main trait is. We are complete opposites. So Brandon got like the dominant D with her calculatedness of I'm a doer, I always need a challenge, I want to be assertive and I want to get things done and see projects, see the results right away. I had like a hard S of like this steadiness, of supportive and being the person that people can rely on. And everyone in the group that we did it with all were like, Mary's an S. Like, we know it just from knowing you. I've been this person that is providing support. And those two together have been a really good style for running the company, of having this steadiness and, okay, we need to take a step back, we need to look at what we're doing, and also Brandon constantly pushing forward and always wanting to be results driven and very much, pushing forward no matter what. So I think having someone who has a different management style of you, can fill in the gaps and the traits that you're missing and the skills, but can also work well together is the biggest thing. It's not just I need to find the best developer in the world, which I feel like I have, and I'm lucky for that. But that's not always what you're looking for. It's someone who you can really work well with, even if you butt heads, and that fills in your gaps and looks at problems from a different perspective than you. And that's the way you're going to get problems solved, is having two different perspectives that will look at them differently.
I think a lot of times when we think of find your co-founder, and like you guys talk about, you guys have different types of styles, decision styles. You say that's probably been one of your biggest challenges on creating Bindr, or if there's any other challenges, if there are challenges, let's hope there's not. What are some stuff that you kind of mitigate those potential challenges?
We yell at each other. Just kidding. No, but the thing is, we do yell at each other sometimes, and it's not like a screaming match. It's not nasty. But when you're really passionate about your perspective and you really think that you're right and the other person also does, sometimes you have to get those feelings out. And the most important part about that is 2 minutes later saying, okay, what did we get out of that? What did we learn from it? What is the things that we can take away that is objective, that can solve the issue at hand? And being able to bounce right back and not hold grudges at the end of the day with it.
To follow on with that, that's why I think Mary's going to be the next president. We're from the United States, so that's where I see her in the next 15 years, because I know how well this woman can debate. But with that said, she's absolutely right. In terms of being able to move on from a conflict, if you are going into a co-founding relationship or you're considering a co-founder and you're thinking that it's always going to be good, it's always going to be a win on stage or a presentation or something that's great, well, there's a lot more not great moments in between those. So you have to have the tenacity to really stick it through, because your co-founder is going to be the only one that actually understands what you're feeling. I've done solo founding before. It is very hard. It is very isolating. It's not something I wish to really do again, because all of the bad traits about myself were always shown in the company. By having a co-founder, you can actually create something that's bigger than yourself, to bring in other great traits from somebody that you get along with, that you can also work through conflict resolution and things like that. So
I think that goes back to what we were saying about finding the right match for you. So one of the things that make us such a strong team is the fact that we have this trust, that we built a friendship, and you have to acknowledge that a co-founder relationship is a relationship that you need to work on with your co-founder. You can't just be 100% analytical all the time. There is that, it's a professional relationship. You have to deal with this person and talk to them every single day. You have to have the trust, and luckily me and Brandon have a lot of history with that. We've been working together for 6 years. We've helped each other through a lot of personal instances, a lot of hardship that we've seen in each other's life, and just having that person that you know that you can fall back on and trust when it comes to your company, where I can go to him and say, hey, this has been a really rough day for me personally. I need you to pull 80% and I'm going to put 20%. And then the next day I'll do the same for him. And being able to know that that doesn't mean we're bad partners, that actually builds and puts more strength to the company that we're building.
I was just going to say, when you're building something for somebody more than just yourself, whether it's a community on Bindr, whether it's with your co-founder, that can keep you going beyond any problem that you have. Mary has this inept ability to go into a room, no matter who it is, resonate with them in the most, not QueerTech, but in places where it's highly unaccepted, and leave with people trusting and confiding in her and telling them their story. I can't do that. I know I can't get on stage to get that quite the same way, but I know she can. And if you don't have a co-founder that can drive that, to push it, I admire her more than any person in the entire world. So that's how you should look at a co-founder relationship.
Hey QT, did you know QueerTech is more than just this award-winning podcast? We offer 3 cohort-style programs to help you build your career in tech. QT Access helps us LGBTQIA plus professionals break into tech. QT Leaders empowers experienced professionals to advance their careers, and QT Founders is a startup accelerator to early first-time queer entrepreneurs. We also host quarterly QT Connects meetup in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, Ottawa, and Halifax. And don't forget QT Cubes, Canada's largest US LGBTQI+ tech conference. Ready to plug in? Join our community today at QueerTech.org. Okay, back to the show now.
Thanks, guys. And I think you were talking about as a co-founders, it's like a relationship, and I think a part of a relationship, you think you guys share the same values. What tips will you give to someone that's looking for their co-founder or founding team, but they might be worried that they might compromise the value, the mission, the goals of the startup? How do you navigate that? Because I feel like some people, like, potentially if they're struggling, they might like, okay, I might change this up a bit, and it starts from changing it to a whole different thing that they envision of their startup. So what are some things that you think they can navigate that for you not compromising the whole thing?
One thing that just came to my mind when hearing you ask the question is, do you want to do this the easy way or do you want to do it the right way? And sometimes the easy way is, I have this person who'll be perfect, but it's going to compromise our values. Or even when it comes to not just co-founders, but investment partners, people who are advisors, people who can really grow your company. But would never take investment money from somebody who was actively hurting the LGBTQ community. And I'll take money from allies and a bunch of straight cis white men, but not if they're actually doing anything to hurt the community. Same with your co-founders. You have to stick to your values and learn to do it maybe the hard way, but the right way, because you can always teach yourself skills. You can always drive through. And I think having a good co-founder is super important, but I think having the right one and sticking through and maybe waiting a bit longer for the right one is more important than compromising any of your core values and not being able to go to sleep with yourself at the end of the night.
You can't teach somebody to believe in you. You can teach somebody how to code. You can teach somebody how to do financial models. You can teach somebody how to do marketing, but you can't teach somebody to believe in you and your mission. So it's far more valuable to have somebody to grow with than even somebody that has all of the answers in that moment.
I agree with what you guys are saying. Any questions in the audience?
Hi, my name is Safety, and I understand that it's so important to find a co-founder that is aligned with you. And in my experience, generally speaking, that has been friends. How do you guys meet? Because if it's not friends, then who can I start like a business with, or where can I meet them?
The way that we met, I wouldn't recommend trying to find co-founders.
Yeah, so we actually met on Tinder before she got banned. An interesting story from this. We're in a safe room. I'm happy to share this a little more here. I was in a relationship, a very bad one, and she identified some things that I didn't, and ever since then, it led me into my entrepreneurship journey. So I had a lot of understanding of like how to do these things, and I was working a nice paying job and doing all the things you would want to do. But also on the other side of it, I had this like big dark cloud over me that put me in a very dangerous situation. And if it wasn't for her getting me away from that and like saying, hey, this isn't healthy, I don't think that I would be here today by any means. So in a lot of ways, you got to trust your co-founder or your person that you're creating a company with at a level that you even trust more than yourself.
I was able to help Brandon get out of that bad situation. But the whole point is our story isn't your story. You need to find someone who you can really trust on a deep level and has the skills that can fill yours. So I think those are the two most valuable things. And it's not necessarily where you find them that matters. It's when you just have this click of knowing I can work with this person. They're going to be my yin and yang, and that we can get through the bullshit.
Thanks for a great panel. From your pitches yesterday, I know that you have two separate companies right now. And my question is, how are you navigating this new situation and how is it impacting your relationship? Thanks.
With Coldstart, I know that's where that's coming from, is a company that spawned off of Bindr. It was technology we built for Bindr, and it's technology that we built to continue scaling Bindr. It has turned into two separate companies, so it's interesting kind of being co-founders into both. But with that said, we're navigating it, I don't want to say one day at a time because that's not a good answer, but we're navigating it one day at a time because both companies are growing so fast that it's kind of hard not to. I mean, the revenue in both companies has quadrupled in the last month. Coldstart is going absolutely insane, so we do see ourselves as kind of like CEO of Coldstart and then CEO of Bindr. But both companies, in terms of its framework of how they support each other, are set up to support each other.
I also feel like having these double roles, so seeing Brandon as the CEO position in Coldstart after me having this position in Bindr for, I mean, it's been 2 years, but it feels, I don't know.
It's been a fast 2 years.
Yeah, for the past 2 years. It's really amazing to see these different sides of each other and having me do some of the operations of Coldstart and seeing me shine in that role rather than just being the CEO of Bindr and seeing him really take leadership at Coldstart the way he hasn't done at Bindr before. I think it's just made us closer and made us really see the potential that each other have in multiple different positions and helps us determine very truly where our strengths and weaknesses are and apply that back to our own respective companies.
It's also important to mention why we had to make Coldstart. Bindr was not a company that a lot of VCs were quick to invest into, and the investors we do have are wonderful. The reason for that wasn't because of traction. I mean, we've outperformed many, many companies that have not even a fraction of the traction that Mary does with Bindr. Revenue, all of it. And when you pull that back and you go, okay, why is that happening? It's absolutely because of a bias that exists. Coldstart has enabled us to essentially self-fund Bindr if we ever needed to, while also remaining true to what our mission is, and that's to change the world for the queer community.
It's going from a woman CEO, a gay woman CEO, pitching a gay consumer company to a cis straight passing if he needs to be, even though he's not, but a white guy that's in tech selling a B2B SaaS company. So it's really different when it comes to funding, and they both feed into each other and help. So in this way, it really does benefit both companies for them both to do well, and that's been able to help a lot. I mean, Brandon's obviously very out with Bindr,
Yeah.
but still, not all the investors know that. And when they see this sexy new technology of Coldstart, they don't ask all those questions. They're quick to jump on it, and that helps me in exchange.
It's absolutely wrong what exists in this world. A lot of people talk about it, but we're focused on changing it in a way that we're at least able to as founders. I think every founder has a mission, but this is a big one of ours. It's not fair that in 2 weeks I've had 10 VCs in my data room and I haven't asked. Like, that's not right. That's not good for women founders, and there needs to be a lot more done there. And it's not just programs that are saying they're doing this. It has to be done with action. And I think if one thing that's a testament to Bindr and to Coldstart is Coldstart would not have existed without the queer company, without the queer technology that is now everybody wants, and that we have a waiting list of 250 companies just trying to get on this, paying more to get to the top of it. It's not fair that she had to go through that and prove it with a B2B SaaS AI company, but we are very fortunate and happy that we were able to do that, and that's what being a queer founder means. It's like we have to work harder to prove that we're the best, and that's why we do what we do.
It's queer innovation leading the rest of the business world and the ecosystem. And that's really what it's all about.
Hey there. This is amazing. I just had a question just about your synchronicity with scaling. Because as you're talking, I was like, oh, I should do this by myself. But I'm like, oh, who in my world is that friend? So I have someone that we're going into business together, but I don't know on what level. I kind of have a world level, and he is very focused on making a section of that that's already going successfully for him. That. So I'm trying to figure out in that Venn diagram, I want to go bigger. How do you make sure you're both on the same vision of how big or small versus maybe someone else on your team who's like, I'm going to take this thing and make it as good as I can. So just finding that partner that is on the same scale, or maybe it's three partners. I don't know. That's my question.
Brandon had to help me really see what Bindr could be at scale and help me look at the big vision. And I was kind of stuck at looking at it at stage by stage of what it was and not what it could be. And as soon as we looked at what it could be, it started growing to that. So I think that your vision is really important to have and important to kind of be a shared vision, but it's also something that I think can be, as long as it's agreed upon, it's something that you can work there. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree with that, and even add on. A lot of times, when you think of like, okay, we want to be the next Tinder or Bumble with Bindr, that's a really big goal. So what things can you do creatively to do that? And that's how Coldstart formed into a company. So we're like, hey, we don't have millions of dollars in marketing. We don't have all these things these other companies have and seamlessly just get handed to them. So how can we do something that is thinking differently? And then we found a way to do that. So if your mission is to make something really, really, really big, you got to figure out what steps along the way you need to do that. And every good founder, I feel, can always come up with those solutions. So I don't have a direct answer to how to do that. I'm going to plug in Coldstart there. But if you're trying to build a big company or find a great founder,
being able to show them a strategic roadmap of how you're going to get there could be a really big step of saying, hey, I know that you're looking a bit smaller. I'm seeing bigger, and this is why. I know that we can get it. I just need you to believe in it and put the effort into it. Yeah, because it sounds like the person that you're talking with is more analytical. So saying like, hey, I know that we can get this because XYZ can probably go really far with that.
Yeah, so I invested I'm not going to speak too much on this, but I put some time into a company that was failed right before Bindr. And that company now it's doing what it should do for what a failed company should be. That's all I'm going to say on that matter. But you don't know what those steps are going to be. Even the failures can sometimes be successes.
I was just going to say, in one word, how can you describe how Bindr is different from the other apps?
Coldstart and inclusivity and fluidity. Those are a few words, but
It's the only app that's fully inclusive.
This was such an insightful chat, and go on Bindr.
Thank you, yes, you, for tuning into this episode of the Cutie Podcast. Queering the tech ecosystem is a big mission, and we couldn't do it without you. This episode was produced by Lauren Hicks and mixed by Ryan Richard of Rival Digital. Very special thanks to the Canadian Media Fund for their support in making this season possible. Feeling fabulously inspired? You can help our show reach even more queering tech professionals. Subscribe to our show, give us a great rating, or write us a review. Until next time, keep queering the tech ecosystem.